So you want the truth, you said. You sure you want the truth? I mean, can you handle it? Because we'll go there. Okay. This is from the Event Chronicle. Vatican-led Illuminati Matrix and United States Constitution. It's written by a former judge. The hidden truth behind the formation of America. Following articles written by a former judge. He does not reveal his full name, but the information contained within the writing is well worth reading and digesting anyway. It is worth reading because it should stimulate your pursuit to understand the truth behind the formation of America. This is important since Americans have long been deceived by the likes of men who followed the footsteps of despicable characters like Benjamin Franklin, men who have hidden their Illuminati and Vatican connections behind a false veil of freedom in Christianity. If anyone doubts what the judge has researched, just ask yourself why America has crumbled into fascism after only a little more than 200 years of so-called freedom. Okay, so that was a preface. The Matrix and the U.S. Constitution by no name, hidden for his safety. Introduction. During my 12 years service as a judge, I always insisted on the truth and placed justice above law and order. I could have prepared this article indicia of a research paper. However, people tend to lose interest when articles of this nature become too technical. Science has taught us that for every action there's a positive reaction. If your life on earth resembles a matrix, it is because you're seeing things for the first time with your eyes wide open. But you feel confused. That feeling of confusion is appropriate because the information you are now digesting contradicts much of the information you have been spoon-fed throughout your life. I named this paper after the movie The Matrix, written by the Wachowski brothers. Well, it turns out that the Wachowski brothers actually stole it from a black woman. Look that up, too. Don't believe a word I say. Okay? After reading this, watch the movie and you will notice many similarities. In 2002, my brothers ran into a problem with the IRS. And to help him out, I began to research the tax code. One thing led to another, and suddenly I was uncovering information about our government, which was directly in conflict with the United States Constitution. This was in 2002 now. Okay? You know what year it is, right? All right. So, one thing led to another, and suddenly I was uncovering information about our government, which was directly in conflict with the United States Constitution, and what I have been led to believe throughout my life. In time, I began to interface with people from every state in the Republic who were doing the same thing I was doing, some for the same reason and others for different reasons. We began to trade our research, and the facts I uncovered were totally in contradiction to the history of America, which had been taught to us in public school. Okay? And the principles of law I had absorbed during my service as judge, I began to assist people to prepare and file suits in the courts, and I filed several on my own. At one point, because of the information I'm about to provide to you, I became extremely depressed. After about 3 months, I eventually shook it off and continued on with my research. My hope in writing this is to help you, the reader, to make sense of it all, which will require you to wash your mind clean of the brainwashing you were subjected to by our government-controlled public schools and churches, and re-educate yourself. Okay, when you understand the actions, the reactions will make sense, and it should anger you. Okay, if you're not angry, something is wrong with you. That means you're scared, and you think you can't do anything, and that's the wrong attitude here. Eventually, you will have to make a choice that will define how to survive life in the Matrix. In the Matrix, nothing is real. Your mind has been conditioned to believe it is real. The Matrix is far too big to defeat, and no one can escape it, and we haven't the means or the intelligence to beat those in control through my research, I discovered that America is a society of functional illiterates. I remind you that this is not my opinion, I'm just a messenger. The people in charge of the Matrix represent the most powerful and intelligent humans on Earth, and When gifted children appear in the public schools of the world, they are courted with scholarships, money, and eventually memberships into secret societies. They will be introduced to very persuasive intellectuals who convince these young gifted people that it is their place and duty to be a part of the elite who rule the world's population, because the rest of the world's population are too stupid to make decisions for themselves. Their comment, not mine. When the New World Order is officially and openly in control, only the extremely intelligent will be allowed to propagate. Everyone else will be sterilized or murdered through staged pandemics used to eliminate excessive populations. Every foreign revolution, the world wars, the depression, prohibition, Korea, Vietnam, the Middle East, conflict, and the influenza epidemic during World War I was planned and orchestrated by these people. Did you hear that? Many early writers researched much of this history, and were forced to fund their own publications and the distribution of their work. Most never received the acclaim that they deserved, and they never knew our government was responsible for their failures. I am prepared to supply anyone interested with mounds of research in support of what I have written herein. When I've conveyed parts of this information in court documents, the opposition's lawyer responds to the clients that I'm just crazy. And if the judge is within earshot of that comment, he will nod his head in judicial agreement. Well, I guess that caps it. So if a lawyer and a lawyer judge both contend that I am crazy, then I must be crazy. They wouldn't lie to you. Or would they? The motive of our founding fathers was totally self-centered. It was the personal greed that inspired them to accept the task of writing the Constitution of the United States, and not patriotism. In actuality, the United States is not a land or place, it is a corporation, a legal fiction that existed well before the Revolutionary War. See Republica versus Sween, number 1, Dallas, 43 and 28, U.S.C. 3002, Section 15. The Constitution of the United States was written in secret by the Founding Fathers and was never presented to the colonists for a vote. Surely any document as important as this demanded the approval of the people it governed. Well, it wasn't presented for a vote because the Constitution wasn't created for we the people. It was created by and for the Founding Fathers, their family, heirs, and their posterity. The Constitution is a business plan, and any reference contained within it appears to be the safeguard of a right is there because none of the Founding Fathers trusted each other. The safeguards were intended to prevent any one or group of them from cutting out the others, proving that there's no honor among thieves. Americans are not unlike all other humans who inhabit the earth. All human beings possess malleable minds, which are minds that can be shaped and controlled, and when government shapes and controls a mind, or when government shapes and controls a mind, it's called brainwashing. Brainwashing causes a subject to become functionally illiterate. In America, our functional ignorance excels in the areas of history, government, and law, which really are one and the same. 98% of the officials in public office are lawyers, and these so-called representatives set policy and create the laws that govern their society. Their use of Greek and Latin terms in law and the habit of changing their definition and usage of common words is intentional. The intent is to confound and confuse the general public and to hide the treason they are implementing, so that members of the public are forced or decide to hire a lawyer out of frustration rather than to try to represent themselves in our functional courts of law. As you read on, I'll explain to you why and how our courts and laws are fictional. So I'm going to stop here and see if you can handle just that. This is Tonus. Everything is not as it seems. Peace out.